Hello and welcome to Not One Right Way, the podcast. It's me, your co-host, Melissa, she, her, and
It's me, Barbara Metawagi Nyaga, they, them, theirs.
hello, Marv. How are you doing?
I'm doing super swell. My coffee came out a little burnt this morning. Like it's just bitter. So that's not great. But you know what? The sun is shining. It's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, that's nice. It is not shining here in LA. It's been gray for like a week. I don't know how the Angelinos are doing. I think they're starting to like go a little rabid. Like if they don't get sun for longer than a day, they just get grumpy and mean. They're like, it's not supposed to rain in LA, but it's just been rainy. I kind of like it. A little gloom.
Rainy.
Yeah.
June gloom
But
come early.
yeah, June gloom come early. It does feel a lot like June gloom, but it really fits the tone of my life right now. Just an update. I got laid off. I know, so exciting.
Yeah.
So fits the vibe of my life specifically. I'm doing okay.
I'm glad to hear that. If that's what we've settled on, you're doing okay, then I think that's great for today.
Yeah. They messaged me. Well, they laid me off on Friday, and today's Tuesday. And yesterday they were like, "But you're gonna keep working for like the next 2 weeks." And I was like, "Well, you laid me off, so no, I'm not gonna do that." But they're like, but you want to keep working, and I was like, not particularly. Yeah, that's been fun.
That's booty. We've talked about this extensively. And I have a lot to say about. No, I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
I don't want to be mean on the podcast, and just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We won't
But
be polite.
if anybody needs to know this, I'm Melissa's #1 fan. So
Yes, I'm your #1 fan. Have you watched anything recently that you've enjoyed?
we've watched something recently. Battle Camp.
Okay. That was a Netflix reality TV show.
It sure was. It was a competition show, and
It was entertaining with friends. I don't think I could have watched that alone.
so true, so true.
I've been watching Hacks. Nothing
Okay.
like I love comedy, and it's a show about female comedians and but also about platonic relationships, which I love. There's not a lot of stories about platonic relationships. There's more coming out now about the importance of what these creative platonic relationships mean when these two people mean so much to each other and you love each other almost as much as a romantic relationship or even more than a romantic relationship, kind of like the book Together, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And the show does a lot of that, what these creative relationships do mean. And Mythic Quest was almost that until they ruined it in the finale. So I like watching Hacks, and it's been the new season they're fighting, and it's very dramatic.
Oh my gosh.
But speaking of books, I've dropped a book name for my great segue into our guest. We have a really amazing guest. I'm a huge fan, and I'm trying to play it off really cool. Not be too nerdy. Our guest today is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of several YA novels, including 13 Little Blue Envelopes, Sweet Scarlet, The Name of the Star, Truly Devious, and probably her upcoming novel, The Death of Mourning House. Her name is Maureen Johnson. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I got to update that. That book is out.
Oh, then, well, yeah, it's probably already a New York Times bestseller. That's my guess.
It was, but that's I'm Maureen, she, her. I write books. There we go.
There you go.
Yay. Thank you, Maureen, for coming on the podcast.
Very happy to be here.
How's your morning? Yes.
Well, I am not. I live in New York City, but I'm not there right now. I'm at my parents' house, helping out my family. I'm outside of Philadelphia, and it's as you were talking, I'm looking out because it's just a backyard, but it has a creek at the end. I grew up here, and I was looking for animals. It turns out that because I live in the city, I'm very thirsty for looking at green things.
Mm.
Like I just stare and go, "Ah, I feel so relaxed." Should I be living I've lived in the city for so long, but every once in a while I go, "Should I get out of here? Do I belong somewhere else?"
You could always just, move into Central Park, set up,
We go to Central Park about we put the dog in a cab and we go up there and we have like a 2 or 3 hour walking adventure and we go through the
Nice.
ramble. It's amazing. It is truly
yeah,
amazing.
Central Park is
But
beautiful. It's fun to walk through.
you're still around a lot of other people.
There are a lot of people there. It's
A
kind of
lot of
hard to
people
avoid.
in New York.
They should
Yeah.
do something about that.
Uh, we kind of like. I mean, that's the thing is you have to be used to constantly being around other people. Like you don't get you're by yourself in your apartment. I liken it to being in the party of a kitchen at all times.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't have to go out as much. Like I'm just here at the party, but I'm in the kitchen because I would prefer not to go. Oh, you're gonna hear my parents' landline, and then the robotic voice of the hello. This is there. It is. There it is. They got a landline for days. There it is.
Wow. I haven't heard a landline go off in years.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Sorry about that, you guys.
That's
No
okay.
I'm here.
worries.
My mom has 5,000 decorations in this room. She has a little cat from Al Village house from every place she's ever been. Um,
It's okay. Look, you say that, and like, maybe I'm just an old woman
no,
too. Look at my 5,000
no.
decorations.
This is the. Would you like a tchotchke? Because we have them.
Like, I'm not that different. I have a lot of tchotchkes, and I keep buying
Yeah,
more. And and maybe I'm just gonna become an old like I'm the problem.
you're not the problem. Nobody's the problem.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
The bread
I love a
loser?
Enjoy what
tchotchke.
you. It's 2025. Enjoy what you enjoy. That's my
Yeah,
message.
That's a lovely message. And I totally agree. Um,
Also every year, enjoy what you enjoy.
true, true. These are trying
great
to.
word of advice.
Well, on the podcast, we usually start with a hard-hitting question from Marv, since they are our resident social worker. They like to dive deep.
Yeah. I really want to understand what made you who you are, what really drives you. That's what's important to me. My question for you is if you could time travel, would you travel forward in time or backwards in time?
Backwards.
Ooh, where to?
Oh, I always have a different location that I want to see.
Hmm.
But I'm a backwards. I want to see what it actually looked like and smelled like and what everybody was really doing. Oh, 100%. I think about it all the time. The future will sort itself out, but I want to see what actually happened.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that way too. And then I remember like there's no air conditioning, and I start to like second guess myself. Like I don't know if I could survive that long
There's
Yeah.
in the
some air
past.
conditioning. It depends how far back you go, but there's some air conditioning.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, the Floridian and Melissa just leapt out. If there's
Yeah.
yeah,
no AC, I don't think I can.
And there's a lot of cold places. Don't worry about that. Like you could go somewhere cold.
true.
You could go somewhere really cold.
Could go back to Russia in like the 1800s.
Hey, there was like a whole little ice age a couple hundred years ago. It was cold.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Well, you're right.
1820s, I think.
I thought it was more like the 1600s, somewhere in there. I
Yeah.
thought so.
I don't know enough
It's
about history to refute anything, so
I don't
you're
I'd
right.
also just like to go back to like 1960s like to see
Mhm.
like New London and all of that stuff and like some music stuff.
Yeah.
I just like there's just some stuff I'd like to see. I just like to go back and be
Yeah,
like, what was really going on? So yeah, I want to go look. I've read about it. I want to go look.
definitely. I wanted to ask what your favorite soup was, because last week you gave your recipe for garbanzo beans on the pot on Says Who, and that was so inspiring. I went and made a big pot of black beans because I didn't have garbanzos, but it
Hey,
was
I love beans.
delicious.
Beans are good, you guys. Get involved. Um, I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for a really long time, which means you have to embrace the bean. But I love soup. Soup's great, you guys. Everything can be soup. And never get rid of anything. Like you. I also hate food waste. So, little bits of carrots, little bits of onions, little bits of celery, you can save that and then just infuse or put it in like chop it up into little pieces and put it into soup. That's what soup always was. Soup was like, how do we cook with whatever we have left over? No matter if it was a vegetable, piece of meat, bread, bones. I don't use them, but like that's what they were for. They were for making stock. People used everything. And that is the beauty of soup. It is the beauty of soup is that it sees everything and uses everything. It values kind of everything. And every part of it nourishes
Mhm.
you. And you can't really go wrong with it. Like it truly is a very forgiving food to make, and you don't need a recipe, and you can make up any type of soup based on what you have at hand. Soup forgives. But I like to blend a thing. It's like a white bean with I don't know. I once worked with a writer when I was in grad school. They gave like a fellowship, and you had to do research assistance. And she was an Italian woman who was like, "I'm going to teach you how to make Italian white bean soup. It's so simple." And then she just showed me. She just made some white beans in a nice stock, blended them, threw in a handful, like made a nice thin broth, then threw in a handful of like cracked up spaghetti pieces. You just crumble those. Those are your noodles. And then on top, she put like crumbled gorgonzola cheese. And it was one of the best things I ever ate. Like it's so simple. So soup is simple and it's your friend. And it
Yeah.
in no waste. And it's always there. Like it's basically like, do you have some sort of liquid? Do you have some food particles? Well, then guess what? You've got soup.
Yeah.
Soup
I
advocacy.
love everything you just said. I want to live my life based on this soup approach. You know, values everything, considers everything, accepting, forgiving. Wow,
Yeah,
what a beautiful
it
life
is.
to live.
It is everything has a place in it, and there's always something to eat, and it's expensive. Like literally, if you add more liquid, there's more food. So and you can sort of keep filling it with, and that's why it used to be filled with bread, noodles, things that expanded and thickened it up. Bean liquid thickens, so you could feed more people, and it keeps you full for a long time. It's a perfect food in so many ways, and you can keep feeding people with it. It really is a way of like expanding. I got very sick at one point, and I was having like I had a whole neurological breakdown. I was really in
Mm.
trouble, and I was having trouble walking and breathing and even like kind of eating food. And my gastroenterologist was like, "You have to eat basically 12 times a day, but extremely small amounts. Like you have to take a little bit of food, preferably liquid, every couple of hours." And he's like, "Soup, soup, 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 soup," because it kind of sustains you and it also hydrates you and you get the nutrients that you need. This is becoming a soup podcast, and I'm just saying that soup is, because I'm like, how do you feed people? How do you nourish people? How do you keep them warm? How do you keep them well fed? How do you keep them fed for a long time? And soup is a great way of doing that.
Yeah,
Soup forever.
soup forever.
Soup forever. Feed everybody. Add more liquid. Because we actually, like in this world, we have the capacity to feed everyone should we choose to do it.
Yes, yes. Add more to the pot.
Add more to the pot and see what you got because you got a soup.
We did that on. I know you said no tote bags, Melissa, but I feel like we need that on a tote bag. No
Do it.
bumper sticker, little pin.
I did want to say I am anti tote bag. I think everybody has too many tote bags and they don't
I
admit
have
it.
too many.
I had a
Yeah.
shelf in my cabinet and it's like a deep shelf. And when I took it out, it was all tote bags. That's so much real
Yeah.
estate. And I got rid
Yeah.
of like 90% of them. I was like, I don't need this many tote bags. It's ridiculous. They give you
Yeah.
a free tote
Like,
bag, and I'm like, please, no more.
I'm like, I will pay you not to give me. It's much like going into space. I will pay you so that I don't have to go to space.
Yes, exactly.
I,
I don't
I
want
don't
this
want to go to
actually.
space. There's
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, I know it's important, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
I specifically am not built for that.
yeah.
No.
If they decided today by some sort of international order that we all had to go to Mars, I'll die.
Yeah.
Like, I'll not go.
Like, I'm staying
I had a
here.
good run. Thanks for everybody, but cling to the earth.
There's no green up there, so I'm staying here where I can stare at the green stuff. Thank you.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold. I mean, you do float. That is exciting, but I mean, I think we all like the floating,
Yeah, yeah,
but that's sort of it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna take this chance to segue into what this podcast really is about, which is
Right.
your career.
Soup.
Um, Definitely soup and tote bags, but also since you are in your origins of Philadelphia, can you share a little bit with the listeners and us about whether or not you knew you wanted to be a writer from the beginning, or did you
Yes.
have different dreams?
I wanted to be a writer from the beginning. Like, there's really not a time that it wasn't, because I don't think it is a job, but it's also a behavior.
Mm.
Mhm.
I think we all have certain behaviors and things that we just go towards. Like, some people are very athletic and they're running around. That was not me. Some people, naturally pick up any instrument, or um there's lots of things that we are, and this is the one I always was. I think it has to do a lot with observation.
Mhm.
And like, as a kid, I always felt very kind of caged in. And I was never allowed to do anything. I was very at home, and this was where I lived, and this is in a suburb of Philadelphia, and
Mm.
there wasn't really a lot around to do. And then when I went to high school in the city. So a school bus came and took me to the city and back again. And I wasn't as close to like everybody else. So, and it was a Catholic girls' school, and I'm not Catholic. And I was a complete, like, I was just not. And I had to look around and observe stuff really, really, really quickly,
Mm.
because everybody else knew the moves. There were only three of us in the class. And I had to look around and be like, what's going on? What are the words? Why does everyone know the words? The words aren't written down. Like, everybody, it was like, you ever have a dream where you're in a s you've been cast in a show and you don't know the words or the music or the lyrics, but you're on stage? It was
Yeah.
like that in real life when I was 13. It was like, "Oh my god," like, everybody's kneeling, "Oh my
Everyone's
god.
doing the Hail
Oh
Mary,
my."
and you're just like, when did you get the script? Like,
They they know the whole words to mass, all the
yeah.
prayers, everything, and I don't. I learned the moves, but I was always watching very closely and trying to really figure out what was going on. It was a lot of trying to figure out what the hell is going on. My whole high
Yeah.
school experience is what the hell is going on and how do I get out of here? And I also was very, very close to, like, last night I was out with my friends. Like, it's where like I loved the people. I loved my friends. And in many ways I loved the cozy little place we were all in together, but it was bananas and I wanted out. And we were complaining about this because we were literally locked in to the building, which is not fire safe, by the way. Like,
Wait,
No.
once we were in for the day, they locked the lobby door.
that's
We were
wild.
never we were never allowed out.
That's
We
how
had
the
a signed
Triangle Shirtwaist
CD.
Factory fire happened.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I guess we would have had to smash the lobby doors or something to get out, but it was like, we had assigned seating at lunch. At
Mm.
lunch.
That's
Assigned
so
seating.
Catholic school.
It was so somebody my friend showed me, she's like, "I passed the school. Here is a picture." And there were outdoor tables with, like, umbrellas so you could sit outside, and we were all furious. We were like, in
The
many ways,
injustice.
I was like, "Well, first of all, good for them. Like, I'm glad they get to sit outside, but at the same time, how dare they?" Like, that is we were just I was so mad all the time, and,
Mm.
like, happy but mad.
Yeah.
Because there was also a lot of things that went on in school that I didn't agree with. And I was angry about them because I was like, "I do not agree with this. I think that is bad." And, um, it turns out that holding on to that feeling of what the hell is going on and I need to get out of here, is a great motivation for writing YA, and it's a great place to meet every teenager, because that is actually when I first got into it, I mean, I can talk about how I got into it. I was always a writer. I went through school for writing, also theater. I did both. But I was a writer, but I was like, I also wanted to work with other people in a writing context. And so I did theater because I liked it, because I also liked working with groups, because writing is very alone.
Mm.
and I like working with other people. I like being part of something. And then I went to graduate school for both theater and writing. My MFA is in writing. I was in nonfiction writing. And one of my best friends who I went to college with, we moved to New York together. I went to school. She went into publishing and she said, "You should try to write YA." This was back when YA was kind of new. And I said, "What's that?" And she told me, and I was like, "Ha ha ha. I can't do that." I was never allowed to go anywhere,
Yeah.
anywhere. I have no stories. I just have stories about being in Catholic school and like clawing at the windows and trying to get out, like climb,
Yeah.
and she said, "Well, try it." And it turns out that's a great springboard to write YA because that is what being a teenager is in so many ways. It's trying to
Yeah.
figure out who you are and how do you chew through the bars? Like, how do I chew through these bars and get out of
Yes.
Yeah.
Not for everybody, but it's a good starting place for a lot of people. Hold on to your feeling of injustice because you're not necessarily wrong. Sometimes you look back and say, "Okay, older person, I totally get why you do that." But you know what? Some of that stuff I was mad about in Catholic school, I was not wrong about. I
Yeah.
wasn't wrong. And that's something that teenagers have to hold on to too, is don't believe it when people are like, "You're going to grow up and you're not going to believe this anymore." That's not true.
You hold
Yeah.
on to
So,
those things. I mean, as someone who also grew up in a suburb, not in Philly, but in Florida, and was not allowed to do anything. I didn't
anything.
like nothing. You just sit in your house all day. I also wanted to be a writer for I think it's similar reasons. Like there's nothing else to do, so you just sit and you write. I didn't know that about you, but maybe that's why I loved your books. It was just the that I
The
connected with
angry indoor kid.
the angry indoor kid. And I was just like, yeah, I get it. It came through.
I'm
Yeah.
also really
Wow.
happy, like, I'm very optimistic, but I believe that those 2 can absolutely live together quite, well.
Like
Yeah.
this yearning too, I think, or at least that was for me. It was like this yearning to want to do more, and all your characters, they
Mm.
got to do more and they got to live a life and the
Yeah,
potential of this person who couldn't do much, but then when they do, it's like, wow, look how much they can when you let them outside. You can go
yeah, when you
outside.
let them out. But also the trick with YA is that you're always dealing with, um, it's I describe YA as a literature of firsts because there's no difference between the quality of YA writing structure, breadth of writing, and the sphere of adult writing. There just isn't. You're seeing the same qualities of writing spreading throughout in terms of literary merit, theme, simplicity, complexity. All they are all represented there. It is a part of the full body of literature, but it is a literature first because your characters are frequently doing stuff for the first time. They are not like, "I've had 20 ex-wives," like they are generally, you know, first love, first this, try, and they have a control structure generally over them.
Yeah.
They have either parents, school. They don't generally don't have money. So you'll see some, like, that's why some fantasies give characters a bunch of money. Like suddenly you're in you're really rich thing, or suddenly you're a prince or a princess. Like you get all this agency. There are different ways of giving your characters agency. So, which is great. That's why you can read your teen character who is like a warrior princess or a fairy queen or whatever. Um, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends
That's
who write fantasy, and I didn't read that much fantasy, and because of my wonderful friends, I read more fantasy, and I'm like, I get it now. This is great.
less
Yeah.
limitations.
Yeah. I'm really interested, like, as somebody who's like a portion of my early career has been in youth work, and that's really where I find my home. Working with teens, like, I get exactly what you're saying. Like, being a young person, being a minor in this country, my experience has been that, like, there's a lot of limitations on what you can do. There's a lot of things that infringe upon your rights as a human
Yeah.
because you're fundamentally, well, not fundamentally, but in a lot of ways, not in control of your setting, where you are, who you think you can be. There's a lot of constraints on that, but having this ability to sort of like transmute that through writing to give agency and to give, you know, a new image of what you can be, who you can be. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, to be like, "Hey, I was that kid in the suburbs who couldn't do it. Like, I just wrote my way through it." And not for nothing, I get furious when people are dismissive of teenagers and kids, and I'm like, "These also they're all traumatized. They're
Yes.
all traumatized. Think of what they've been through. You grew up having shooter drills, so you grew up kinda knowing maybe someone will come in your school and kill you. You they've been through at this point in the last 5 years, a pandemic which shut the world down. They were pulled out of school, put back in school, pulled out of school. They've seen political turmoil. They have seen so much go wrong. They are traumatized. They are anxious. They are having a lot of stuff forced on them, and they are looking at a situation that doesn't look great and has a lot of questions about it, and giving them always the idea of positivity and future
Yeah.
and self creation.
Yeah.
The soup of it all. Use what you've got. Like you are the soup.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
I try never to write a negative overall. I don't know if I can. I was noticing in the last book I was writing, I stopped writing bits of it because I was like, ooh, there's a negative tone to this. Like there's something
Mhm.
wrong. And I think it was me just trying to write through how the world is right now
Yeah.
and what's going on. And I realized I was picking up on the vibe too much. And that happened.
Yeah.
But is any of this the answer to the question?
I think I got lost in the soup. Um,
The
In the
soup
soup
of it
of it
all.
the
all.
soup
Yeah.
of it all, yes.
Yeah.
No, that was beautiful. I think for me, at least, the start of the question was, "Did you always wanna write?" And you definitely answered that, and then we just ran with it, so
Yeah. That tends to happen with me. Sorry.
I'm curious about your experience doing nonfiction writing. Like,
Mhm.
what were you writing about?
Okay. So the book I was actually working on when I got kind of I was in grad school when I got my first YA contracts, which is very I mean, I have to say in my career I hesitate to use the word blessed, but I got picked up in grad school. Like that's where I got my first deals. I had been working on a nonfiction book about people that permanently live in a different like reality or time. So people that say are in the Society for Creative Anachronism, and though they go to jobs and are engineers or whatever, they are actually knights. They are actually part of a realm. They are actually like they have a total different or I found a group of people that live completely as fairies. They live as fairies and they have a home and they, use beads as currency. In the process, I found the woman who created the Renaissance Fair. And this was way back. Like this is in the very, very late 90s, around 2000. And I found her through like connections and she's kind of she got on the phone with me and we talked and she was like, "Well, just get on a like come here and see me and we'll talk about it." And sort of sight unseen, I found a cheap plane ticket. I got on a plane and I spent a week in her house. And I
Well,
recorded her and I talked and I learned about how she created the Renaissance Fair. She's amazing. She got ripped off. She actually got ripped off by the guy. If you've ever seen The Wolf of Wall Street about the pump and dump scandal, that
mhm.
firm stole her money. So that guy took this woman's money. But she was a teacher in the 1960s in California, and she wanted to teach history immersively. And she wanted to teach about through contact, through building things, doing things. And she started as like a small project for her students and then expanded it. And her whole ethos was this woman didn't drive, by the way. She didn't drive. She would just sit at her kitchen table and kind of created kind of a legion around her where everything was authentic, everything was completely lived. There wasn't like she's like, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it like they did it. You're gonna like stay in the world. And she did things like she innovated that all the food that they served had to be food from the period. For example, she's like, I introduced quiche to California. She's like, we brought back some foods that weren't really popular. And the people would come from Knott's Berry Farm and Disneyland and all, and they're like, "No, you have to have fully consumable foods like a hot dog, otherwise." And she's like, "No, we serve people food, and then we take care of the utensils. We actually serve food." And it got bigger and bigger as more people really got involved. It was so popular in the 60s that like rock stars would go, and like it was huge. And then people, she's like, "Oh, I have all these people now. I'm going to help them self-organize into guilds." So there was a guild of this, a guild of that, so that people could self-organize and make things and start building out. She's like, "Oh, people need to eat. So we'll build actual, instead of backstage, we'll build a place where you can authentically eat and just sit and eat your food in an authentic place." And this one did this with like pieces of paper and a pencil at her kitchen table and people driving her around. I drove her around when I was there. And I had a rental car, and she's like, "We gotta go here. I'm gonna take you to Sausalito. We're gonna do this." She would just invite you into her house and you would just do stuff, and you understood immediately how this woman started all of this, because she was like, "Come on, we're going. We're gonna make a thing." And you're like, "Okay, I guess I'll drive." Like you just did it.
She
She was
sounds
amazing.
magical.
I was writing about her, and that was the book I was working on. And she used to describe this thing called the silver track, which I never forget. Was she would like, we would just need stuff. Like we would need some paint. And she would go on Pacifica Radio. She did a lot of this advertising and talking through public radio. And she'd be like, "I just really need some paint." And she's like, and magically someone would call up and be like, "I have 25 buckets of paint. The color you need, I will bring it to you." And she's like, "That was the silver track. I just found that if you kind of put it out there that you were trying to make a thing and you asked people, they would give it to you to help make the thing." And
Well,
the silver track. So I think about the silver track a lot.
Hmm.
This woman also then got basically conned into selling her businesses. And then it got bought up by the pump and dump people from the Wolf of Wall Street, and she lost everything
Hmm.
through capitalism, through late stage capitalism. But her creation stands as really authentic and bringing people together and being fully in the thing. And I was very interested in people that were very fully in a thing of their own choosing with found family. And they're like, "I am a knight. Here's my family. Here's my like actual, that's what I was writing about."
what was her name?
Phyllis. Oh God, what was Phyllis's last name? Because I just always think of her as Phyllis.
What
She
can be Phyllis?
recently passed. She's very
Hmm.
famous, like Phyllis Renaissance Fair. I'm getting all these other last names in my head, but it's just because she was always Phyllis.
Yeah,
It almost like she
Phyllis.
didn't have a last name. She was Phyllis.
That's
And you
amazing.
got in the car and you drove Phyllis around, and she had a pad of paper
She said, sounds like someone who had a presence, and there's some people just kind of have that, you know? And
and knew everybody. Knew everybody. Like she was always, and she loved, like I guess she was good friends with Joan Baez, and she's like, wherever that woman is needed, she shows up. So like she just had a lot, like that was, she'd been around California for so long that she kind of knew everybody.
Wow.
magical.
Yeah, the silver track, man.
I want to know Joan Baez.
Yeah, she was talking to me because she was like, where that woman is needed. I always remember that she was like, she shows up. She will just show up.
That's awesome.
It was like that.
And then how did you pivot into writing? I know lately your work has been a lot of mystery novels. How did
Hmm.
you get, how did you switch gears?
Because that's what I always loved, 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 read, loved, ate, loved. I was a mystery person, and I think I denied it. No, I did deny it. I knew that's what I really loved, but I had been kind of put through so much literary school. Like I went to like a conservatory basically, where I had the literariness pounded into me in so many ways. And because those schools, I don't know if things are like, some schools really hate genre, like they really pound a lot of instinct out of you. And I don't recommend MFAs unless I do. Like I think that they're appropriate in some occasions, but a lot of times I'm like, they steal your money, and and you'll need it to create. So like there's ways of learning to write that, basically you teach yourself to write anyway. So I would rather you have the money and the instinct to live and write. Um, but ones that are like kind of fully funded. There's some good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones that will just take your money, and I hate that because
Hmm.
writers need to live and they need soup and they need beds to live in and they need to be able to sit and work and time. Time is the great thing. So,
Hmm.
um, I always wanted to write a mystery because that is like in my bones. It was the first books I ever read were mystery books. Everything I read as a child was a mystery book. Everything. The first book I remember reading when I was 4 was The Hound of the Baskervilles,
Oh,
Sherlock Holmes, the little children's edition. I
That's a
just
big book.
well, they made a children's edition of it, and
Okay.
I read every mystery on the shelf. I read every Agatha Christie. I read down every series. That was my thing. I read, and I think maybe, and I lived and died by the Westing game. And
mm,
I also maybe thought that why I didn't want a full on mystery and family. I was like, I want to write a straight up classic. I started into it in something called The Shades of London, but I thought people also wanted, like, you had to also get somebody to publish it. And I was like, I kind of see this thing happening. But then I was like, I want a straight up mystery. I want to do the thing it's in my bones. And I've been so happy ever since.
And they've been so wonderful. I love reading them because I didn't realize how much I liked mystery books until I started reading yours. I was like, oh yeah, these are awesome and they're so fun. And I don't know, I'm never the type of person who feels like I have to solve the mystery. I'm just along for the ride. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
smart enough to need to try and figure it out.
Oh, don't say
But
that.
don't say that. Who told you that?
Yeah, who told
myself,
you that?
I don't know. I can't pick up on the clues. I'm not very good at puzzles, but I love the ride.
It depends on
I'm
what
there for the journey.
it really depends on what you're looking for. I mean, there are some times that when I'm watching something, my husband will be like, "Is this good? Like, what do you think is good, or what do you think's going?" And I'm like, "I don't care. I just want to
Yeah,
go with it and see where this particular story, like what kind of story it is and what it's doing." Sometimes
I
you just
love
want to
the
ride it.
moment of reveal. Like, I love the wow. I love that. It's so fun.
What I think is that mystery and history, because I write a lot of cold cases and past in there, because I think they're connected because they're both about looking back to see how we got to where we are.
Mhm.
So, Death at Morning House, for example, the backstory is about like two children that died in the past at this house, but it's also about the history of eugenics in America. I was like, I want to tell everyone about the history of eugenics in America and how we fully embraced eugenics and like what eugenics is and why it's evil and why it will eventually bring you down. Unfortunately, it's just like over. It used to be kind of more subverted, but and it's about some things have to burn. Not all statues are meant to stand. Some statues are just garbage statues made of old nickels. Take them down, burn it down. Some things, not everything stands, and some things are worth burning. That was the point of the book.
Yes.
Wow, love
You know,
that.
you could. It's about looking back. How the hell did we get where we are? Actually, the clues are all there.
Definitely.
This is a 30-second episode of Law and Order.
If you just paid
Yeah, dun
attention, it's
dun.
right there.
Yeah. It turns out it was us and it was here and here we are. Dun dun. That's it.
Yeah.
I guess that brings me to I for me, I think when I fell into your books, it wasn't even your books, it was your this is terrible, your Twitter in, like, 2016, which is
I don't
not
hate that at all. I
I
love
mean,
that.
I hate that it's because of the way Twitter died, but I think it's funny because your activism led me to your books, and I think when I
Right.
read your books now, I see your activism in them. So,
Well, we are
do
who
you
we are.
yeah,
We write with our own bones, you know? Like we are.
do you how do you balance that? Because like you said just now, you were writing a book and it was like, "Oh, now it's getting a little too sad or a little too dark." How do you balance that of, like, I'm trying to write
Yeah.
who I am and write with the times, but not get too dark?
Right.
Because
Mysteries are really popular during times of crisis. That's why the golden age of mystery was between the First and Second World Wars because these people had seen so much death. They were so traumatized. And for example, Agatha Christie was writing with bombs falling around her. And she locked up a book in a vault, killing both of her main characters in case she was killed. So she wrote her final books in advance, just in case a bomb fell in her house. And the reason is it makes sense and it gives us a framework of justice. And one of the problems I was facing writing the new mystery was, oh, the framework of justice has actually shifted. How do we discuss justice? Like, is justice, oh, the police come and take them away? That's not justice. That's not what justice is. And how do we resolve justice in a manner that is actually pleasing? Because these books are meant to be like a stage play that you step into. Like they're meant to be a really pleasant experience. It's like it's death, but you're happy about it. So you have to kind of walk that line. And I realized that in the new one, yeah, I was really getting like, what is the justice now? What does that look like? And will this even make sense in a year? This sense of
Yeah.
justice. But what it is a sense of resolve, a sense that you can actually tease apart and say, "This is actually how this came about." But it's also enjoyable. It's a way of lifting people up and saying, "We can kind of think our way through this." But you can't get too down in a murder mystery. Like, you have to kind of walk this line. With Death at Morning House, I because it had this it's about a family that was into eugenics. And there were many. And they were connected to weird things like the Kellogg Sanatorium, the health food movement. Like there was this whole like purity thing that they were all connected. And then you would go to a fair and have your baby's head measured. Okay. Like it was terrifying. And
Mhm.
there were also American Nazis. And at first, that family was like, because there were huge Nazi rallies, huge ones. And there were Nazi camps in the United States where you'd send your kids to the old Bund to have a good time for the summer and learn about Nazism. We did that. We did a lot of things. We also, our laws are what the Nazis used as a framework. They thought our racism was so good that they wanted to make it law. They're like, man, those people are great at it. We thought they actually thought we went too far at points. So like that is what our laws were like. So bringing that into the book and saying, hey, this is actually the world. And this family that I'm putting together, this fun family puzzle that you're going to see is actually part of the experiment of Nazism, eugen and then I was like, "Yeah, I gotta get that swastika out of the pool. That's too much." Like, the minute you see the swastika, the book drops. There are certain things that just the weight is too heavy,
Mm.
and the whole bottom kinda and I was like, "It's yeah, it's too painful to even write the word or look at it in many ways."
Yeah.
And you know what? We don't have to worry about people not being exposed to it because they totally are. It's not like, "We'll forget about it." No, actually, we won't. It's not gonna be forgotten, my friends. Do not worry about that one.
Yeah. In high school, I randomly really got into studying the California Eugenics Project. I was raised in San
Oh, yeah.
Diego, and a lot of what I was looking at was, like, the politics of Mexican immigration. I'm a Mexican
Mhm.
American. Being in San Diego, being close to the border, like, that was a big part of what inspired me to want to study bioethics, which I didn't end up studying. Fun fact, I got so caught up in social philosophy, but it's, like, one of those things where, like you're saying, some statues have to burn. Like, oh, there was, like, an entire system of health that's based off of, like, eugenics, and
Yes,
and it's maddening.
it's horrific.
Yeah,
It's so horrific, and yeah, so in this book, I tried to, like, do it in a way that makes sense. You know, it's there's this house that burns and it makes sense in the story, but you know, it's meant like, when people are like, "We can't pull that statue down." I'm like, "Oh, so we leave everything up forever? Is that how that works? We never take
yeah,
anything down. That's why everything's still here that's ever existed." Okay, sure. That's that these cheap ass statues made in nickels and old bullets that are hollow inside. Okay. I love it. My favorite is when people say we learn history via statue. Sure.
yeah,
That's how that's why I learned that's why I held a whole class on the Rocky statue. You know what I mean? That's really where I'm getting a lot of my information from. What the hell's wrong with you? Who's learned it from a statue?
Literally learning
Aside,
nothing.
aside, unless it is made of marble and is so beautiful and is a work, like there are some that are worth studying. There's some good statues and there's some real shitty statues. And we don't keep everything. Some things we take down to make room for new things. And if when you're tearing down beautiful historic in this town, which my mom was actually helped spearheading it, we have a beautiful hill. It's always been our hill. We sledded on it, and the owners of the hill house, because it's an old farmhouse, it's from the 1600s. The family has basically died off, and they can't afford to keep the property, and it's worth a lot of money because it's big. So it's actually worth about $10 million, and the town
Wow.
couldn't afford to buy
Expensive
it
hill.
because it's a lot of property, or maybe it's
Yeah.
5 million, but it's a lot of property. It was just like our hill in the town. And these developers from Florida tried to buy it. And they're trying to build 150 houses on it. And it's a big property. So they want to build a development on it. And their plans are so bad that they will flood our town. They have done all of these studies, and the math was wrong basically. They were off by 80%, and it will literally flood the town because that hill absorbs our water. It's also full of lead. They didn't look into that because those people made lead sinkers. But our 1600s farmhouse they want to take down, you know, to put up a bunch of cheap houses and then flood the town below. But we keep everything, don't we? We keep everything. That's why we have to keep those statues because we keep everything except the old houses, except the things we value. We keep everything, right?
Except
Mm.
if we can knock
Anyway,
it
I'm
down
sorry.
to
I'm
make
so
money.
mad about these goddamn statue ugly. They're so bad. Sorry. I apologize.
No need to
No need.
apologize. This is safe space.
I feel
Get
like
on any
jumping
pedestal you
through
need.
the screen and being like, "What are you talking about? Nobody learns history from a statue. Take that hollow ass, melted face nickel statue down of that Confederate. Take it down the road. Sell
Take
it
down
for
every
candy.
Confederate statue.
Make that thing into a goddamn piñata." Sorry. Anyway. Sorry. Sorry.
That'd be great if we took every Confederate statue and just
And
filled
just
it
filled it
with
with candy.
candy and told the kids to go crazy. Just like,
Yeah.
get them.
Kids will take apart anything
Yeah,
if you give
there's
them
candy
enough
inside.
time.
Yeah. It'd be
Kids
like,
will. We accidentally destroyed our neighbor's. We didn't know wasn't trash. She had an old TV antenna. We accidentally took it apart for fun, thinking it was garbage. And we were so sad. She was like, "That was my antenna," and we were like, "We thought it was trash. You put it up in the area with the trash, and we took it apart." Kids
you
could
put
take.
anything on the curb and it's like trash. People will
Oh, it's
just like,
fun. Like, what is it? Let's spin this around and see what it does. Yeah, those kids will take those statues apart. Just give them a little time and a couple hammers. Kids will take care of it.
yeah,
Let the children have the hammers. That's all I'm saying. Let children have hammers.
yeah.
Is that bad?
Here
Is
on
that
here
bad
on Not
advice?
One Right Way, we say give kids the hammers. It'll be
Give kids
fine.
the hammers. It's fine.
As we're wrapping up, I want to make sure we give some time to your new book. This one I was so excited about. The Creeping Hand Murder. Because
Yes.
I'm so psyched for this one. Can you share a little bit about what it's about?
In the 1930s, they used to have these things called dossier mysteries that were case files. You got a case file with the photos, the documents, the letters, the pictures of the evidence, and you had to figure out the crime. And then there was a sealed solution in the end. I love these things more than I can tell you. I've reread them as adults. One had like almost full newspaper in it. Like you could pull out this newspaper and you had to read it was like a big fold out thing and you had to read it and figure out. And they were not easy. And I really wanted to bring that back. And I had worked with my friend Jay on a book called Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village, which is a little list I wrote for an article in Crime Reads when another book of mine came out. And it's partially based on the fact that my husband is English and is from a quaint English village. Sidebar, when I first met him, he showed me around and he's like, and here he lives in the New Forest, or his family lived in the New Forest, which is famous for its wild horses. So as you're
I was
walking,
gonna ask
horse,
about that.
yeah, horses walk around you. Just they're wild. They just walk around.
Are they
They're
mean?
uh
Are they violent?
no, they will. I mean, don't mess with them. They are, like don't try to just go up to them, but they will come up to you and try to eat your food.
Mm.
And they can be kind of pesky. They just kind of go over like, hey, got any apples? Hey, what's going on? Hey, hey,
Okay.
hey. Um, but then he's walking along the path. He's like, oh, and that's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah, he's just buried there, and his family helped take care of the grave. Just casual,
Okay.
like first day I met him. Like I'd met him the night before, and that was the next day, and he's walking me around this forest. So that a lot of that was about actual village life. So I thought, oh my god, I should work with Jay and make a dossier mystery. We'll just draw it, and he's so good. Like so, this is one of the most fun things because Jay and I worked hand in hand. I created the mystery, I wrote the whole thing, and then I had to figure out what clues to have him make. And then he would draw, and I'd have to be like, okay. And I'd have to give him 20 notes because I'd have to examine everything. Like, yeah, that can't be in the wallpaper. That light has to be off. No candle. Candle there. Put a glass there. Make it half full. Whatever. So what it is, it's not a novel. It's a case book. You open it up, and you get a letter from Scotland Yard that says we can't solve this case. This guy was murdered in front of everybody. You've got to solve it. And then you just read the case file. And in the end, in the American edition, the file is sealed. It's going to be in a sealed envelope that you open up to read. And in the UK edition, it'll just be behind a page. Um, but it's a case file. You read it and then you solve it. And Jay and I worked hand in hand, and I loved working hand in hand with him.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna throw a party. I'm gonna invite a bunch of people over, and we're all gonna solve it together. It's gonna be
Oh
like
my
a
god,
murder mystery party, and we're gonna solve it together. That's like my
I'm
plan.
s- I'm so excited about. I didn't even think of that, and then someone's like, "Can we do it as a group?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, of course you can.
And
Do you
You
want
just
that
have
for
to
your
pack the
we're
books
bachelorette
all.
up."
party?
You know what? Maybe that'd be really fun. Just like
Oh my god!
solve the
Congratulations.
creeping hand murder. Yeah,
I
I'm
hope
an
it's hard.
engaged person.
It's totally possible, but I hope it's hard. I think it's hard, but I think it's like not so hard. Like it's all there.
Yeah, I think I'm very excited for this book. Because I have a
Beautiful.
bunch of friends who love to play board games, and we play a lot of like these murdery games, and I
Hmm.
think this will appeal to all of them, and they'll have a fun time.
I also live in a game house. Like my husband makes video games, and we're
Mhm.
always talking, thinking, playing games. Like, and all my friends are games. Like, we love games, board games, puzzle games, um, every kind of game. We try it out. We talk about how gameplay works.
Yeah.
We talk about you know. So we love a game. So I really wanted to make a book that was also a beautiful piece of art because my friend and I loved working with my friend on this. I
Yeah,
loved like we had a mural board where he'd be put something down. I was like, no, look at
love
this
Miro.
image. Think about this. Like, oh, the whole book was done on Miro. Like I would have to post notes on every piece of art that he did, and then I would talk about it. And oh, this poor guy. I don't think he slept for 2 months.
I love that. I'm a producer of art, so like working with artists is my favorite thing. So it's so exciting to hear that you get to work with an artist one on one and create this together because that's what I
He was
do every
actually
day.
he was one of my college boyfriends. We dated and lived together for 2 years. So like it's good to be like, hey, this is my friend. Like we are really good friends. So to be like, hey man, let's make a thing together. I love it.
Nice.
It's not just me, so I feel better promoting it. Because sometimes when I write books, I'm like, you want it? You don't have to take it. You could just throw it in just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay. But with this one, I'm like, look how beautiful it is. Look how it looks great.
Yeah.
Because I like
Cover is beautiful enough
it
as
really.
is, so
Man, the thing is gorgeous. He's a really good artist, and they've done a really nice job on it.
I'm very excited.
It's getting foil. I know it's little stuff like that where they're like, we're putting foil on the cover, and we're doing this, and we got the envelopes.
Fancy. Love
I
that.
know this is all very nerdy, but this is the exciting stuff.
I'm excited.
Often publishing is no, no, you can't have this, you can't have that, and this has been an experience of yeses, and that's beautiful.
Nice, nice.
Do you have so this has been like a positive publishing experience. What is your biggest publishing pet peeve for like aspiring authors to beware?
Um, okay, here's the thing: you must write if you must write. People will reject you, and things will go wrong. Realize that everything you're writing is wrong until it's done. When you write a book, you write it wrong. That's the point. Drafting is wrong. You must write badly to write well. It is literally the point of writing. So some people start to write and go, oh, I'm no good. Well, just write. Like drafting is drafting. That's what it's for. Part of the job, a huge part of the job, is writing wrong. And I sometimes people lose patience or become fearful. And there's nothing to be fearful. No one has ever died from a bad draft. And you must do it. You must do it. You must write badly. You must continue writing. You don't learn right away. You learn by doing. It is a long process of self-teaching, but you must keep going. It's like when people say, like, I want to play the piano, and then they sit down and they hit a few notes and like, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, of course you don't. You're learning to play the piano. You have to play it wrong until you learn to play it right. Writing is exactly the same, and every book is exactly the same. You learn to write every book by writing that book, and you write it wrong until you write it right. That's how it is. And so I think that I tell people, you don't embrace a mess, embrace doing things badly, embrace that. Say, great, I wrote really terribly today. Good job. Good job. You're starting to put the building materials together. That's the job. So embracing things that are messy is the main thing I tell people. Don't be like, it has to be. I don't want to be like, everything now has to be perfect and shiny because of social media. But people are very focused on effect. People are very focused on, making things look camera ready and perfect and smooth. And there's a day in my life of me doing things perfectly while holding a coffee. Look how beautiful my apartment. And opening the French windows and blah, blah, blah. No, man, you're here to make a mess. You're here to, I don't know if I can swear or not, but you're here to make a mess. And you're here, make your pile of garbage in the backyard. You're building something. It's not going to look pretty. Get involved.
Yes. That's great advice. I think we've had only one other writer, Ellie Guzman, and she had very similar advice where it was like, if you want to write, you have to write, which is, I think,
Yes.
the standard writing advice. But,
It sounds annoying. It sounds like, oh, come on, you just don't want to tell me. No, man, that's the job. Like that is it. You write and you learn to write and you write badly until you figure out what you sound like and how you want to sound and you develop over time. You develop over time.
yes.
Stick with it. Sorry about that phone. There goes that landline.
No worries.
That landline will be the death of me.
It keeps us grounded, Well, thank you so much, Maureen. It's been so wonderful getting to talk to you and getting to know you. I'm so honored. And
No, thank you. Congratulations. I'm very sorry about what's happened, but you will find something new and better.
thank
Fuck
you.
those people.
Yes,
Honestly, fuck those
definitely.
people. That's what I was trying not to say at the beginning.
Yeah,
And
yes.
thank you for doing the work you do with social. Nothing is more important right now. There's a lot of people out there that need a lot. Oh
true.
boy.
We are both unemployed people,
You're
but
not
we're both
well,
great.
you're making this.
Yeah, this has been really fun to make.
True.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for
Yes.
being here. It was
Oh
so
my
fun.
gosh. Yes, it was
Just,
delightful.
Do you have anything you want to plug other than the Creeping Hand?
I don't know if you can read Death at Morning House if you want a classic fair play mystery with a fun, chaotic queer romance and a little bit of the history of eugenics in America as a little treat.
That's a treat.
That's a treat. A little eugenics is a treat.
Is there anywhere they could buy those books that you recommend?
Anywhere. You can buy them anywhere. I mean, it has to be like a sells books, not like the grocery store, but you can go to my site, maureenjohnson.com, maureenjohnsonbooks.com, and there's all the links. But it's like if you just look at bookstores, buy them from a bookstore.
Go to your local bookstore,
That's
take a
honestly,
little
you're gonna
walk.
pay listen, here's the deal. You're gonna pay a couple bucks more. You will. But in doing so, you have literally probably bought a brick of that
Mhm.
building to keep that building on. You have paid for, 15 minutes of electricity. You have paid for something to keep that place open. You are actually investing in your community and keeping things away from people that would destroy them. So think of yourself as an investor. And that
Definitely.
means they will stay open and they will have a place for you to gather and they will bring in authors and they will keep book selections alive because of book banning. And book banning is even trying to get into bookstores now. I work for Authors Against Book Bans. And also, I'll be talking to someone from the ABA later today in a couple hours about how that is even extending into bookstores. So
Well,
when you support a local bookstore, you're also supporting efforts against book banning.
Wild
so
times. Wild times to
There's
live
too
in.
much responsibility on all of us. We have to wake up and do like to keep all the fires lit. There's a lot
Yes.
going on.
There's so many, I don't know. I don't know the right word. There's so many conflicts to fight up against to make
Yeah,
sure we're paying attention or we all have bills to pay, I guess. Families to feed.
I look in the past. I'm like, did you just hang out and skateboard all day? That looks awesome. Like, what do you? That looks fun. What you guys are doing?
Yeah. Well, thank you again. And I really appreciate you spending time with us.
No, thank you
yes.
for having me.
Have a wonderful
Uh,
day.
yeah.
You too.
That was our conversation with Maureen Johnson, New York Times bestseller.
That was such a delight. Like, somebody who's so big brained and like funny and loves soup. Like, it's everything. It's
The soup
everything.
of it all.
The soup
Yeah.
of it all.
Maureen, I was so excited to talk with her, and I didn't know where the conversation was going to go, but it went beautifully. And I just hope everyone reads her books because they're all wonderful.
Is it The Creeping Hand?
Yes. Dang it, tab. Hold on. I don't want to get it wrong. Yes, The Creeping Hand Murder.
Okay. Cool.
I'm very excited. I definitely want to throw a little party when it comes out because I think it's going to be like a fun interactive thing to do. I'm not going to be able to solve it by myself. I think most people could, but not me. Plus, it'll be more fun to do with friends.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see when it comes out. You can pre-order it now, but it comes out September 16th. So, and September 25th in the UK for our UK
UK
listeners.
listeners.
Yeah, I know there must be so many. Yeah. Are you gonna go eat soup today in honor of this episode?
I don't think so. Let me check the weather.
It's
Well,
rainy here.
apparently it's 50 degrees outside. That's awful. Maybe it is soup weather.
Sounds like soup weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. That soup sounded delicious, like the white bean soup with a little bit of noodle.
Mm-hmm.
I'll need that. Also, I need to look up this Phyllis person who created the Renaissance Fair. Is there a book? Is there a podcast? Is there a movie? I need to know more. Well, there's Maureen Johnson's book. Just kidding. She literally talked about it. She just sounds like a wonderful person. And
Yeah.
I want to
Like
know
somebody
the whole
who
story.
makes things happen.
Mm-hmm. A community leader, too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just
Yeah.
knows everybody and everyone more than happy to help her out because she's just got that kind of presence.
Yeah.
This conversation went all sorts of ways in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch another season of Battle Camp if it comes out?
Ooh, only if you're there with me, bestie. Only if you're there with me.
I guess it depends. If there's more people from the circle,
Mm,
you know?
yeah.
If it's just people from Too Hot to Handle, I don't care. I know.
If it's just people from Selling Sunset or Selling the OC, I might not watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really there because Shubi was there. And then he somehow made finale.
Somehow.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Are you keeping up with the conclave? With the Pope?
I'm
New Pope?
not. I watch or see whatever updates you send me, but I'm not
You're not
inactive.
heavily invested who's gonna be the next Pope?
No, I'm not.
Like, I'm not, but I am curious in, like, the game of it.
Yeah.
If it's gamified, I'm invested, I guess.
There's a fantasy league tournament thing
Yeah.
for the Pope. Like, yeah.
What if Luigi was the Pope? You know?
I feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody who's probably traumatized by incarceration, you know? That's my take.
Yeah, but if they made him Pope, would they legally have to release him?
I don't know.
These are crazy times. Unprecedented. There hasn't been a single precedented day in years, so it's worth finding out.
So true.
Anything can happen.
Anything could happen.
Anyway, let's say bye to our listeners. Thanks so much for listening. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends to listen. Tell your uncle to listen.
Yeah.
Your teachers.
Tell the little people that live in your mom's little tiny home ceramic collection.
Our cover art was done by Les. Our episodes are edited by Marv. And remember,
There's
not
one
right
way.
to realize you want to be a writer after being locked up in your house all the time as a child.
There's not one right way to write a nonfiction book about the person who started Renaissance fairs.
There's not one right way to make a soup.
And there's not one right way to start following your dreams of writing a mystery novel.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.